Hi guys, it's Manda here. I'm doing a much requested video on how I make my bath fizzies / truffles. I'm going to give you the recipe. These are just for personal use. Before I start, I will just say that I have disinfected everything with alcohol, including my hands, and all the measuring and stirring equipment and bowls and everything, okay? Right, here we go. In here, I'm just making a half batch today. I've got 1 cup of baking soda and ½ cup of citric acid. In my bowl here, I have got my fragrance oil, which is a chocolate fragrance oil, and a few drops of peppermint oil. I've also got a teaspoon of clay just to help hold all of that and make it yummy for the skin. And then I've also got a couple of teaspoons of cocoa. If you don't like the thought of brown bath water, then this isn't one for you, but it boosts the chocolate smell, and you know, it's chocolate. So here we go. I like to mix my fragrance oils into the colour, which in this case is the cocoa, purely to A, it stops it from fizzing everywhere, and B, it helps you see when you've got things mixed up well, because obviously as you mix you disperse the colour as well. So let's put that in there. Now I've already given the baking powder and everything a stir anyway, but yeah, you just go at this and mix it nice. And I don't mind if it's like a speckly appearance, because I know that as long as it's got a good amount of speckles in each one, that, you know, it's got a good amount of the fragrance oil and everything in it as well. Smells so nice in here. Smells just like those after 8 mints you can get. I'm sorry, this is a bit of a noisy process. I'm just using my spatula and pushing it against the bottom of the bowl. That's why I use a big bowl. Also, if any flies up, it stops it from going everywhere. Just rub out the lumps against the bottom of the bowl. I'm just wanting all of these little speckles of chocolate to get, you know, really small. Don't want any big lumps of the cocoa and fragrance oil left. And this way I know that I've mixed all of my baking soda and citric acid together well, and it rubs out any little clumps that might be left in there. Now if you're more a hands-on person, by all means either use gloves or spray your hands with rubbing alcohol, which I do anyway just in case, for when I mould them. But yeah, if you're a hands-on person, feel free to dive in there with your hands and break these clumps up. You could use a whisk. I just find this way the quickest and easiest for me. As you can see, this is all looking pretty uniform now. I can't see any bright white clumps left, which means that it's getting mixed in quite well. Few more passes and I'm going to stop. Every time I go back to the bottom of the bowl, everything that I've pushed against it, if you can imagine, the cocoa and the fragrance oil is quite sticky, so I then go in and just scrape it off the bottom and back into the mix, so that there's none left on the bottom. Right, that's enough mixing. Right, and here's my secret. Well, it's not my secret. Another soaper gave me this tip, and I've asked her permission to show you all, and she's fine with that. So I don't bind my cocoa bombs with water, I don't bind them with witch hazel, and I don't bind them with alcohol. I bind them with shea butter, and this has just been melted on short bursts until it's liquid, and I'm going to use 1/4 cup here, which you know, the ratio I use is 1 cup of baking soda, half a cup of citric acid, 1/4 cup of butter. You could probably use cocoa butter as well, or a mixture. I haven't tried it yet, but in it goes, straight in. This doesn't fizz at all. You don't have to be careful adding it. Just get in here and get all my shea butter out because it's too yummy to waste any. There's a little bit here that's slightly hardened, but it'll be fine. It'll mix in. It's not too hard, it's just soft. And again, I just go with the rub it along the bottom method. You'll see if you need more. I think I might need more. I don't think I've added enough. But yeah, you want it the same consistency as a normal bath bomb recipe. Ooh, I know what I haven't added. Also need about 1/2 tablespoon of olive oil, or sweet almond oil. I use olive oil in this case. Oh, this smells so nice, it smells so delicious. Scrape it all off the spatula because there's so much of the wet stuff stuck to the spatula that needs to be mixed in. Yeah, I'm definitely going to need more shea butter. I find, depending on what you add to it, you need more or less. I think I'm going to need just a little bit more. Luckily I've still got it here with me. Put another chunk into my cup. Melt it down. Right, you're going to hear the microwave going now just for a second whilst I melt some more shea butter. Always helps when you don't unplug the microwave, I suppose. I'm really smart sometimes, aren't I? There we go. So yeah, just keep rubbing it in. Get out any of the big lumps. You don't want one big lump of wet stuff and then loads of dry stuff. Whilst that's melting, I'll show you my moulds. These are my moulds. They are little plastic moulds. I pack it in, put them together, and I'll show you in a minute, but I rest them in a cupcake tray or a muffin tray whilst they're drying, and it keeps them stable, stops them falling over, all of that jazz. It doesn't take, they don't take too long to dry. Within a few minutes you can take the tops off. And then I choose to leave them in the bottoms of the moulds whilst they harden overnight, and then I turn them out and I leave it 24 hours before I pack them, just to make sure that they are all good. Get in there with my shea butter. It's at the soft sticky stage, another few seconds and it should be melted enough to use it. So I like using shea butter in my recipes rather than cocoa butter. I personally find cocoa butter a little bit sticky, and especially in soaps I find it kind of draggy on the skin. If you wash with it, you know, you have to put effort to move that bar down your arm. Maybe it's just my skin, I've got weird skin, so I do apologise if it's not the same for everyone else, but personally I prefer shea butter to cocoa butter. I'm not a big fan of the smell of cocoa butter either, which, you know, I am a chocolate lover and people say how can you not like it if you like chocolate, but I find the smell of cocoa butter really sickly. Like, you know, that feeling that you get when you've eaten too much white chocolate, which for me isn't an awful lot because it's so rich. I don't know. I'm weird. Another couple of seconds. This video is going to be way longer than I was going to plan for, just because it's taking so long to do. I should measure my butter more carefully, I think. Right, here we go. That's it. Right, it's not gone clear yet, but as you can see it's liquid enough to pour, so that'll do for me. It's melted enough for our purposes. So what I would say for your ratio, my normal batch size is double this. So normally I would do 2 cups of baking soda, 1 cup of citric acid, and then quarter to half a cup, no, half to 3/4 of a cup of shea butter. That's better. I hope I've got enough this time. I don't want to have to do more again. Oh, I'm such a noob. Once again, I have alcohol in my hands, which is why I'm not wearing gloves. I find it too slippy to use gloves when I'm making bath bombs. I think that's going to do. It's holding together. So the texture you want is like damp sand. This feels and looks like damp sand. Right, I'll show you. Ready? You hold it together and it holds its shape. It is still crumbly, but if you squeeze it, it should hold. That's the texture you're looking for. I'm going to bring my moulds in. Now, I don't know how many this will make, so, but you just push it in. That's how I normally do it. I take the mould to the bowl, push it in, and then I just go around the outside a bit. One half. I'll know in a minute if I've done enough butter or not, because it'll separate if I haven't done enough. I hope I've done enough. I've made them enough times, I should know how to make them by now, shouldn't I? It's late. That's my excuse. It's past midnight. I think also because I've put cocoa in here, it's a bit drier than normal. Cocoa's absorbing that butter. Right, and then you put the two halves together and just push. And then I just separate the two sides and just take my finger in the middle to just remove that excess. And that's it, one bath bomb done. Try and line them up as you do it. I think that's lined up pretty well. Just spin the mould around so that it's the same way. There we go. It helps to let you know if they're lined up as well as if you have these moulds. So there we go, that's one moulded. And I'm going to just put that into my cupcake tray. Sure. Put it on that one, so you can see it. And then just carry on. Keep moulding them. Like I say, after like 10-15 minutes I take the tops off them normally. And these moulds are really easy for the tops to come off because you know, you just separate the 2 sheets of plastic, and then I leave them like this in the tray in the bottom of the moulds overnight, and then in the morning they're usually hard by the morning, but I take them out of the moulds and I leave them for another at least 12 hours, so 24 hours total, you know, before I like think about packaging them, just to let them completely dry out, make sure there's, you know, no moisture from having been in the mould overnight and all of that. Yeah, I don't know how many this is going to make. I've never done half a batch before. Here's number 2. I'm thinking it might make 4, maybe. You just have to push it in really hard with your hands. I know you can't see what I'm doing, I just haven't got enough space. And I'm filming on my phone again, which I know is oh so professional. But that's all I've got, so. I do like making bath bombs though, they're so easy for me, especially now I've learnt this trick. The other ones I used to make were mini ones. I used to call them bath tablets, and I used to make them in an ice cube mould, and I found they were really good. You know, they were a nice size. You put 2 or 3, depending on how much fragrance and stuff you wanted into your bath. But because they were small, they were easy to mould, they dried out quickly, they like set rock hard. I've actually got some here, I'll show you in a minute. So I have some left over from last time I made them. It's going to make 3. I lied, I thought it was going to make 4, it's not, it's going to make 3. 3 and a bit left over. That's okay, don't mind there being a little bit left over. I'm going to be sending one of these to the lovely Crystal from Star Soaps in New Zealand, because I want to see how well they hold up in packaging. So yeah, you know, can't really go much further than New Zealand, can you? Right, that's how much I've got left. They take up quite a lot, these moulds, so I've got just a little bit left. I'm going to get a little bit of water and see if I can make the bowl fizz for you. Would you like that? Just with what's left over. So I'm going to put these up out of the way to dry overnight. Let's get some water. Hot water. Hot water. Right, here we go, can you see? Oh, that smells so good. You do need hot water, obviously, to melt the shea butter in them, otherwise it can make them a little bit almost waterproof. But yeah. You can hear and see that, can't you? Oh, it smells so nice. So yeah, that's the acid test of whether it fizzes. Still fizzing a bit now. Yeah, I should mention, because these have so much butter in them, and that little bit of vegetable oil as well, it does make the bath a little bit slippery when you're getting out. I always recommend that you get into the bath and then drop your bum in once you're sat down, so that you don't sort of slide trying to get into the bath, and then just be really careful getting out. If you're really worried about it, I've got a friend who's not so good on her feet. She drains the bath water and then puts a towel in the bottom of the bath and then stands on that to get out. so that she doesn't slip. But she loves them so much that you know, she's willing to do that because she'd rather use mine than a commercial brand that hasn't got all the goodies in. Leaves your skin really soft, and when you get out there might be like a bit of shea butter stuck on your skin, but like just pat yourself dry and then rub everything else in, whatever's left, because it's like a moisturiser and bath built into one. So yeah, there we go, you can see how it goes. And thank you for watching. If you've got any questions, just let me know. I can't remember where I got my moulds from. I think it might have been the Soap Kitchen in the UK. I think these are the medium ones. I'm sure they have a bigger size than this, but this size is just nice for me. That's about, I'd say, tennis ball sized, maybe a tad smaller. I don't think, for me personally, you need them any bigger than that, especially not with all the goodies that are in them. You don't want to be just sitting in a bath full of oil. So yeah, like I say, any questions, let me know, and thank you very much for watching. Bye!